Hello everyone, welcome to the NPL universe. Thank you for joining me today for this video tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to access and use the resume builder in the Testing and Education Reference Center database. To access the Testing and Education Reference Center database, we'll need to go to the National Public Library website. And to start that, we'll go to our web browser. I'll be using Chrome, but you can use whichever one you like. And in the address bar, I will type in the library's web address, library.nashville.org. Alright, and so that opens up the National Public Library homepage. On the blue menu bar across the center of your screen here, we need to hover over Education and Research. And on the left-hand side under Databases, you'll see a listing here, Databases A to Z. And that's what we want to go ahead and click on. That will take us to this page, which is all of the databases that the National Public Library subscribes to in alphabetical order. Now, the Testing and Education Reference Center is all the way towards the bottom, so we have to scroll one more second and it'll be there. Okay, and here it is right here, Testing and Education Reference Center. To access this database, all we have to do is click on the black text, and that will send us to the Testing and Education Reference Center homepage. Okay, and here we have the Testing and Education Reference Center homepage. The Testing and Education Reference Center is a great place to go to if you're studying for a college entrance exam, if you're studying for a professional licensing exam, if you need to find information about scholarships or information about grad school programs. It also has a great section on career development, and the Resume Builder is a part of that section. And so to get to the Resume Builder, on the homepage here, we want to look on the left-hand column under high school and we see career. So go ahead and click on career, and then that will light up the orange start button. So go ahead and click on that. And then underneath I want to, the top option in the right-hand column is create a resume. So we're going to go ahead and click on that and then hit next. And then under start here, we're going to click on Resume Builder. And that will take us to the resume writing page. So here we have two options. We have the Resume Builder and the VisualCV Resume Creator. Now the Resume Builder is going away after May 31st, 2020. So by the time you see this, it may not even be there. So we're just going to ignore it, and we're going to focus on the VisualCV Resume Creator. So we're going to click on the box here, and that will open up a drop-down, and we have the orange Start Now button. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and that will open up a new tab with a login screen. This login screen is where you'll come to when you want to come back to add some more work to the saved resumes that you've done. If this is your first time here, you want to go ahead and click on Register. So for the sake of this tutorial, let's say that illustrious Starfleet Captain James T. Kirk has decided to leave Starfleet and embark on a new adventure in the private sector. And so if he was on this website, here's how he would sign up for it. Okay, he would put in his first name, James, last name, Kirk, email. If you don't have an email, you don't have to put an email, or if you don't want to put an email, you don't have to. However, just be aware that if you don't put an email, they won't be able to retrieve or reset your username or password, and so your account would be lost if you forget your password and you don't have an email address. Okay, username, you can create anything you want. We'll do James Kirk. Password, create a password, and confirm it. Okay, security question. Let's see, place of birth, and the answer, in case you were wondering, is Iowa. And so if we're ready, all we have to do is hit sign up now, and that will take us to the template page. So on this page, they're asking us to pick a template for our resume, and there's a whole bunch here you can pick from. You have some that are more visual with a picture, color, and then as you scroll down, you got the ATS. It's pretty basic. One of the pictures. Then you have the standard. You can pick any one that you want, and you can also change it at any time. So Don't feel like you have to stick with just one. I like the Onyx one, so we'll go ahead and click on this one. Okay, so that brings us into the visual editor part of our resume builder here. And so this screen shows us the Onyx template with all the sections already laid out. So we could go ahead and just start plugging in information here. But the first thing we want to do is we want to visit the dashboard. The dashboard is located up here in the upper left-hand corner with this inverted triangle here. So go ahead and click on that. And that takes us to the dashboard. So we have our profile here, James T. Kirk. We see our resumes. This is a resume that we just created. It doesn't have anything in it yet, but that's right here. So this is where we come. This is your profile page, essentially. So if you click on this circle here, it takes you to your account information, your profile information. First name, last name, your headline or current title. You can fill that in if you want. Account info, email. I made this email up. Time zone. This is where you go to change your password as well. And if you wanted to add in contact information, you can do that here as well. Over here in the bottom right, files and created items. You can have up to 1,000 files created in here and 100 resumes. So just be aware of that. That's a lot of resumes, but just keep that in the back of your mind as you're going forward. So always to get back to the dashboard, just click on the inverted triangle here. So if you wanted to create a resume, you click on this blue button here with the plus sign, the blue CV resume button. And it gives you an option to, you can copy an existing one. This is the one that we just created. You can also import a resume. You can use sample content that they already have if you want to use some other language, or you can start from scratch. And those are just 3 options that you have. But we'll go back to the dashboard. You can also create a cover letter here as well. All right, so this is our resume. This is the title of it, My Visual CV. We can change that, and you do that with the gear setting right here. So instead of title My Visual CV, we're going to title it James Kirk Resume. And under resume type, we have a couple choices here. We have export only, public, and unlisted. So under export only, you won't have a shareable URL, and these can only be downloaded as a PDF or a Word document. But if you change it to unlisted, you can have a shareable URL that you can give to people, and they can get they can view your resume sort of as a website, but it won't be indexed by search engines. Or you can have it set as public, and that way it would be indexed by a search engine. I like unlisted. You still get the Word and the PDF and the URL, but it's not just open to anyone. So it's just whichever one you want. I like the unlisted type. And so we just hit save. So we see when it was created and updated, the template is Onyx, type is unlisted, and here's our URL. And so now we can go into and edit, and we can put in all of our information. So go ahead and click on edit. Okay, so now we're ready to actually input our information into our resume. When you're inputting your information into your resume, you've got a couple options here. You can use the visual editor to actually input your information. You can see how things are highlighted and you can start typing. But when you're actually inputting the information, I think it's better to use the basic editor, which is the button here next to the dashboard button. So let's go ahead and click on basic editor. And just for simplicity's sake, it makes everything easier to see and to read. So let's start with our profile, James T. Kirk. So just click on the arrow there, and that opens up this section over here. So we can put in our name. We've already done that. Since we didn't put an email when we logged in the first time, they generated this email for us, which is ungainly and hard to read. So we're just going to use the one that I made up, james.kirk starfleet.gov. Phone number, city, state, your headline or current title. That would be the job that you have now. And I don't think Captain Kirk would have a personal website, but if you had one, this is where you would type your URL in right here. Now, you can add an image. If you look on the internet about whether or not to put a picture on your resume, most of them say no. But if you're an actor or a model, it's absolutely essential that you have your picture on your resume. So this is how you would do it. You just click on Add Image, and then click on here where it says click or drop files here to upload. Click on that, and then you just navigate on your computer. I've already got it pulled up here. Got our check mark. So then we hit Save in the upper right hand corner. And so now we have our profile set. Okay, once all your information is put in, hit Save. And then now we can check it and see what it looks like in the visual editor. So we have name, the title we put in, all the information we put in is now put here with all the formatting already done for us. And then the image goes here. Okay. So now they want work experience. So we have 3 here to start. You can put in as many as you'd like, typically 3. Usually when you're building a resume, it's usually the last 10 years of jobs that you had. But if you've had one job for more than 10 years, you can put in more than one job. So we're going to add one here. Just click on the arrow. And this is the most recent position. It says school name, but they want the business name. Description. So this is where you would put in all of the things you were responsible for in your current job, your list of accomplishments, things like that. And so up at the top here, we have some text formatting options here. You can insert a table here. You can make it up to 10 by 10, looks like. You have a lot of control here over your table. You can do bold text, italicize, underline. You can do bullet points, a numbered list. You can increase the indent, and you can change the alignment left, center, or justified. Or you can do a link, or clear all the formatting. In this case, we're going to do a bullet point list. And so now we have our 3 sections all bulleted out. Okay, and the start date and the end date for this particular job, 2293. We can hit Save. And we see it right here under Work Experience. So now we can go into the visual editor and see what it looks like. So we see this is who we worked for, Starfleet, United Federation of Planets, the dates that we put in, and then this title, Captain of the USS Enterprise. And then we have our 3 bullet points here. Okay, back to the visual editor. And then we'll pause for just a second and I'll get the rest of that put in, and then we'll move on to education. Okay, now that we have all of our work experience put in, we can check in the visual editor and see what it looks like. See, we have our jobs here, and then we have the title and the responsibilities and accolades on the right in the bullet points. Okay, so let's go back into the basic editor and work on the education section. Okay, to add something to the education section, click on the arrow there, and then it'll ask for your most recent degree or a certification. In most cases, this is where you would put bachelor's degree, master's degree, or high school diploma or equivalency, whichever one was your most recent. This is what you would put there. In Captain Kirk's case, he was an ensign when he graduated. School name. Description. This is where you put in if you were on the dean's list or something like that. If you won an award while you were in college, this is where you would put that. and then you put in your start date when you started the school and at the end when you graduated. Hit save, and then we see it there, and then we'll go in the visual editor, see, make sure everything looks okay. So we have Starfleet Academy, San Francisco, California, the dates, graduated as an ensign, and then the things that we typed in the command training program, commendation for original thinking, and the palm leaf of Vaxenar. Okay, so back to the basic editor, and we'll finish out the education section. So we have two parts to our education section. But this particular template is missing something very important, and that is the summary. The summary is the first part of the resume where you basically make a statement to sell yourself to the person reading your resume. And so we need to add a section here. When you're in the basic editor, you can do that by going to the top where it says add section. So click on the down arrow here. And so we get a list of all the additional sections that are available that you can add. And the top one here is add summary. So we'll do that in just a second. We also had some other ones here, add skills. You can put down skills that you may have, you can describe them, and then a strength measurement from 0 to 10, how strong you are in a particular skill. Communication, computer skills, things like that. You can add a portfolio. Now, if you're something like a graphic designer, or a model, or an actor, or like an interior designer, you have a lot of photographs of work that you've done, this is where you would add in those things. And you can add in photographs of things that you've done, or you can add in links to YouTube videos, things like that. It's a really cool tool if you need something like that. You can add in a text section. It's just a basic text section where you can put in wherever you want, or a custom dated section. If you did something like volunteer work, there's not a section for that. But if you volunteer for an organization a particular set of time, that would be where you would put that in. And you can add in charts. It's a pretty neat tool. You can add in a line chart or a bar chart or an area or a pie graph. So let's say if you're working for a business and you're responsible for sales increasing every year, you can say that in text, but it's a lot more powerful if you can put it visually. And you can see how that you put in, they give you the label here, and then you put in your particular data, and then you can hit save. You scroll down, it'll create, the chart won't show up here, but if you go in the visual editor, it'll show up here, and you can create a chart to put a visual on what you've written in the text. It's a really powerful tool, and I highly suggest that if you have data that's relevant to your position, I'd highly recommend you creating a chart. But for us, it's not really particularly relevant. So we need to delete this. So go to Edit, and then Delete. And then, are you sure you want to do this? Yes. And it goes away. So we're going to add in that summary. So under Add Section, Add Summary. And then it asks for the description. This is where you put in the text for your summary. And we'll just paste that in there. And you can type it in yourself. You've got all your text tools here that we had before. And so then we hit save. And we see it there in the basic editor. So now if we go to the visual editor, we can see now we have our summary. But there's one more thing that we want to add, and that is a little touch of the personal. So we want to add a section. We want to do add a text section. This is going to be a list of hobbies, and we'll do it using a table and a bolded list. So we'll insert our table. We want, it's one row with 3 columns, or yeah, one row with 3 columns. And we want bolded list. Antiquing. One of Kirk's other hobbies is rock climbing. And finally, camping. Hit save. And now we scroll down and we see our text here. It just says text section. Now we don't want that. We want it to be called hobbies. So under edit, under section title, we can replace text section with hobbies and hit save. And now we can see how all of this looks in the visual editor. And there's our hobbies with our bullet points in one row with 3 columns. Now that we're done inputting our information, we can work on the visuals of this particular document. And so we have some controls here on the left-hand side. We have templates, appearance, page breaks, settings, and our history. So under templates, we hit that. Like I said when we first started, you can change your template at any time. We're not married to this template here. We can change, we can go to Oak or Vita or whichever one we want. But right now I think we're just going to keep it on Onyx. So appearance, this is the really powerful tool right here. So we have some drop downs and some sliders. So header font, that's this font right here where it says James T. Kirk, that's our header font. We have some options here. We have 3, we can do Raza, Oswald, or Roboto Slab. So we'll change James T. Kirk to Roboto Slab. And that changes it there. And now all of these change as well. These are our headers. The body font is also Roboto. We can change it to PT Sans, or we can change it to Raza. Not much difference, but I like PT Sans the most. And font size, currently 17 pixels. We can raise it up down to 20, up to 21, or we can take it down to 13. We can take it right there in the middle, 16. Paragraph margins, that's the space in between the paragraphs. We can make, it's right now 300%, or we can make it less, down to 80%. We can bring it all in. Now all of this would take forever to do in Word, and if you don't have a lot of experience in Word, it can be frustrating, so this is a really powerful tool to make things a lot simpler and a lot faster. The different templates have different typefaces in each one, and they have different controls. The ones that have lots of use of color, you'll have a way that you can change the color. You can make it whatever you want. But this one doesn't have any really color in it, but it does have the background image. So here we have this picture of the mountains and the lake. Now Captain Kirk, he might actually like this picture, but I think there's one he might like better. So to change this picture, we go to, in the appearance panel, we click on upload. And so we click or drop files here, like we did before, and we'll do the picture of the Enterprise. We hit open, and then save. And so it changes from the mountains to a picture of the Enterprise. And if you want to change it back, all you have to do is hit reset. So you don't have to, it won't forget it what it was. So if you put in a picture and you decide you don't like it, you can always change it back to the way it was. So let's go under settings. This is like what we saw before. This is, we can change the title or change the resume type. We're not gonna do that right now. And the history. So we can see all the edits that have been made to this particular document. And so if you work for a while, you make a big mistake, it's okay. You can just go back in time and back to a previous iteration of your document. Nothing to worry about. Okay. So the third part of the editor here is the preview. So we click on that, and this gives us a preview of what our document will look like printed. there's one thing that we may want to change. Depending on how you want your resume structured, you may want your education section in front of your work experience. So if you are working in Word, it could be a difficult task, a lot of copying, pasting, and make sure your formatting is right. Here, it's a lot simpler. So if you're in the visual editor and you have your cursor inside the box for education, all you have to do is in the upper left-hand corner of your section here is this up arrow. Just hit that, and now your work experience, your education is above your work experience, but below the summary. So based upon what arrow you hit, if we were to hit this arrow again, it would put education above summary, but your summary should always come first. So now we have it the way we want it. We want the work experience above, but we want the work experience below education. And even inside the section itself, you can change the order of these fairly easily. Let's say we want to put that Kirk was a Starfleet instructor at the top. We can do that. All I do is hit that up arrow twice for that section, and it goes to the top. And we can take it back down just as simply. So in the upper right-hand corner, we have an option to share this document. So hit the down arrow there. We have two options here. We have share link and download Word. You can download this resume as a Word document. This is still in beta testing, so it may not work exactly right. I did it, and it seemed to work pretty well, better than I thought it would. But there were a couple issues that did come up with the download. But we will look at share link. So go ahead and click on share link, and this pop-up comes up. So this is the link to our particular resume that we've created. And so we can copy that to the clipboard right here. Okay, you can share this resume on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or you can email it to someone. So we have the URL copied to our clipboard, so we'll just close on that, and we'll open up a new tab, and we'll paste that URL we copied. And so if you were to give someone the URL for this particular resume, this is what they would see. It's basically a functional website. We have our header here that we created. The summary, everything that we typed in is all here. But they have these handy links right here. Summary, click education, takes us down to the education section. If we hit work experience, it takes us down to work experience. It's a really cool thing to be able to just send someone a URL, and then they can have all this fancy resume just right there on their computer screen. Okay, so that's basically how to use the VisualCV resume builder in the Testing and Education Reference Center database. But I have one more thing I want to show you before I go. That's in the upper right-hand corner here, with the drop down here next to the gray circle. That's the Knowledge Center. If you click on that, it opens up a new tab. So we get the VisualCV Knowledge Center. There's a lot of great resources here about creating a resume and cover letter. So they have a lot of samples here you can pick from. There's the link to the resume builder. Resources, this is what you want the resume guide. We just click on that. So they have tips and examples here. It's a pretty in-depth document. It's a pretty long document. But if we scroll down here, there's a lot of examples that they give. Good examples and bad examples, what kind of language to use, what kind of words you should use, things like that. If you're having trouble writing your resume, I highly recommend you look at this source or other sources that you can find about actually how to write a resume, because there is a lot that goes into getting the language right to to sell yourself to a potential employer. Okay, with all that being said, this was a video tutorial on how to use the resume builder in the Testing and Education Reference Center database. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.